Hi, Gary here. You know, something I learned a long time ago, 30-something years ago, was FaceTime. Now, I'm not talking about FaceTime like the application, the iPhone, video back and forth. What I'm talking about is FaceTime at the office. You know, the whole thing where you don't leave until your boss leaves or somebody else who's in your chain of command to make sure that that you're thought well of. I always felt like it was just a bunch of BS, quite frankly, but that kind of goes on still, you know, in society out there and so forth. And I'm going to take a different tact on this and talk about charity begins at home. You know, so follow me here. And what I mean by that is what a lot of folks mean when they say that in response to what do you do for charity is that it starts with helping their friends and family at the home first. So let's take your FaceTime or your family's FaceTime and talk about that at home. I learned a new term the other day for folks who kind of don't have their intention on you when they're dealing with their smart devices. It's called your electronic display of insensitivity, or otherwise known as EDI. You know, that's you see that all the time. You know, folks have their smart devices, their phones, their tablets, their computers, and they're in there doing a variety of things, email and FaceTime and Facebook and you know, texting and twittering and all sorts of other things, and their attention's totally on that device and not anybody else around there. So I've seen this movement now in the last couple of years where people are trying to take back their control away from their electronic devices and back to really having some meaningful relationships, discussions, and interaction with people around them, starting at home. And here's what we've seen. First, a date night, or a date morning, or whatever you want to say, with your spouse, where you set a time aside once a week for an hour or two just to communicate with each other, putting everything else away and out of distance and everything. Works really well. We've been doing it ourselves for about almost 10 years now. Number two, you're going to a restaurant, family, friends, let's say friends or colleagues, you play a game called Pile Up. What does that mean? Everybody takes their smart device, their phone, they stick it in the middle of the table. The first person to pull their phone off the middle of the table has to pay for dinner or lunch or pay for drinks, depending. Make it painful so everybody's paying attention to everybody else. The third one is, I've seen this now, people are going on vacation only taking one phone, smartphone with them, and making their children and everybody else leave everything behind at home. Boy, is that tough on folks. But I understand after a day or two or three, we've done this ourselves a bit, people really start getting connected again, back to that old normal way we remember from 10 or 20 years ago. Number four, family meetings. I'm seeing young families where their young children, because they start doing the stuff at 2 and 3 years old, they set aside half an hour a week to have a family meeting, to talk about family issues. They have their own formats and so forth. And we've seen all these work really well, and I've had people come back and tell me what they're doing here. They're really reconnecting, having real FaceTime with their families on this, and they're really bringing that charity begins at home back into their environment and really changing their habits around how they deal with their smart devices and not letting technology run their lives. Just thought of a couple good examples for you to consider if you have that issue taking place in your own household. Maybe some ways to make it so you can have a little more genuine time with your family. So until next time, enjoy.